Hey everybody, I'm just out here on a Tuesday sweating. It's May 27th, day after Memorial Day. Out here checking on that corn for y'all. I'm gonna tell you it's gonna be ready this weekend. It looks nice, real nice. As long as we can keep those coons out of there, we'll be in good shape. But I was realizing I hadn't shown y'all these tomatoes in a while. Kind of show y'all the progress on these. Some of the good, some of the bad, some of the problems. Let me walk y'all through it. All right, now I'll say these are not the best looking plants that I've ever had. They are a little bit thin, spindly. Look, you can kind of see straight through this row right here. However, it does have more fruit than I was actually thinking. Let's take a look down here. These are big beef, and that's way better than I thought. At first, it didn't look like these had quite as much fruit as last year, and they probably still are a little bit shy. But still probably better than I had originally thought on these big beef right here. They still need to get some size on them, but not too bad. All right, now that was a little bit of the good. Let me show you a little bit of the bad. Got to show you everything. So let me find what we're having out here is a little bit of end rot. We had it last year, calcium deficiency. Here you go, I'll show you right here. All right, now this end rot usually occurs at least the third or fourth bloom set where that calcium has got trouble reaching all the way up to the top of the plant to get to these fruit. They've sort of culled themselves over time. They'll drop those fruit. Look, you can see one right there on the ground with some end rot. And then what's left, it seems like the plants seem to do fine and the fruit does just right. All right, we need rain, but we don't need it all at once. And I'm about to show you what happened to a couple of these rows, probably impacted 3 of these rows in April when we had those big downpours, 4, 5, 6 inches at a time. Let me show you what's down here. Now I have since rode up in between these 2 tomato rows here just to try to create a little bit of a ditch or furrow to pull that water away from the base of my tomato plants. But we had water in between here, some in between there, and also some in here. So that water sat in between these rows for 7 to 10 days in April. There's a lot of water, not a lot of evaporation. Wasn't real windy, wasn't real hot, so it just sat there. Anytime you've got the roots of these plants saturated, they can't breathe. They need oxygen down to those roots. So they were drowning essentially. The tops of these plants were wilted. We had a little bit of, I guess just struggle in general. They couldn't get that water up to the top of the plant to stay rigid. So the tops of these plants seem a little bit behind. They're a little spindly, kind of like I said earlier, but they've sort of rebounded. This rain was from last night. Otherwise, not too bad. All right, well, this is our Roadster, our new variety that we are trying out here at the property. We've got some red snappers at the house. Those are new as well, but these out here are loaded up. Look beautiful. The only real danger we've got is that because the tops of these plants got real thin on us, the canopy isn't quite up to my preference, let's say that. So we've got a lot of fruit on here, but you can see the sun reflecting off all of this fruit. And if it gets too hot, too shiny, that heat builds up on tops of these tomatoes, we might get some sun scald right on the tops of these. So hopefully we'll get some of this ripening up relatively quickly before we get too deep into June. But man, I mean, these suckers are pretty. All right, now anybody who's been to the stand and bought some eggplant from us knows they look really good. And I've eaten some and they taste really good as well. But I want to show you why they look really good. These plants look fabulous. Check it out. These eggplant are probably the best I've ever grown. These are well over waist height. They're probably up to my chest by now. Loaded with pretty deep dark purple eggplant. Like that right there. We just harvested yesterday, so there's Got some little babies out here, but we've got 100 feet of these eggplant right here. I mean, just gorgeous. All right, well, that's enough update for today. Enough work. I think I'm gonna go take a shower.